So the big question, of course, is, Adi, what did go wrong at Tabung Haji? So, of course, today a plan is tabled, you know, the revamp of Tabung Haji is on, but I think, you can disagree with me, but do you think that a lot of people weren't aware how deep the troubles of Tabung Haji actually kind of went?
Probably not how deep, yes, because there were inklings that things were not quite what they seemed in 2015 itself, when PKR politician Rafizi Ramli, he brought it up, and he was the one, I think, who first said that, you know, that assets were less than liabilities. And then we understand that Tan Sri Zati, the Bank Negara governor at that time, also wrote to Tabung Haji to warn that, you know, assets are below liabilities, and, you know, should they be paying dividends? But these were all poo-pooed by the current CEOs then. I mean, they gave out, they gave their reasons, and so everyone just seemed to accept things as they were, because, you know, nobody really talked about it anymore. And now we've got a new government and things are being questioned. And Tabung Haji was one of the things that they were supposed to
look into,
and so things are coming out now.
And I suppose probably one of the reasons why people were wondering why, you know, about Tabung Haji was it's pilgrims' money, you know, it's money for people's faith. So you would think implicitly that nobody would do any hanky-panky with that, right? Because it is for people's faith, but obviously that's not really the case. So how did it, now we know that for the past, since 2014, they have been going against one of their own tenants, that they've actually been paying out dividends when they couldn't. So how did it even come to that?
I don't know, but, you know, like you said, in our story we pointed out, Tabung Haji was set up with the noblest of intentions 55 years ago, 1963. And back then people were saving money under their mattresses, you know, in their pillows and things like that. And Zati's father, Royal Professor Ugo Aziz, he was one of those quite instrumental in the setting up of Tabung Haji. And he thought, you know, there should be an entity taking care of, you know, these Muslims' money. And so it was set up with the best of intentions, but 55 years on.
Was it just buying bad assets? It seems to be that. Maybe.
It could have been that, you know, there's suggestions that, you know, some things were maybe overinflated. There have been police reports so far, two police reports filed so far. And they've named, you know, people.
The management at the time.
Yeah, part of
the problem
the
as
deal.
well.
Yes, there was an Indonesian deal. There was a plantation sale back in 2012. Let me see, it was Indo Plantations. And it was a huge sum. They sold it for $910 million. Back then, that was considered one of the biggest deals in Asia at that time. And 6 years on, apparently they haven't been paid fully for that, and apparently the sum that they've received so far is far less than what they were supposed to get.
So what happens kind of now? We know that there's going to be an SPV.
From what we understand, a special purpose vehicle will be set up to take over all Tabung Haji's underperforming assets.
Which is what's happened like Dana Harta style.
Kind of like Dana Harta style. And, you know, it would make sense because the current CEO of Tabung Haji, Datuk Sri Zukri, he was formerly managing director of Dana Harta.
I see.
So things should go from there.
They did say that Bank Negara would step in. Why? Is it a good thing that Bank Negara is going to step in?
It should be a very good thing that Bank Negara steps in, which is what we are suggesting in our story as well. Because Bank Negara oversees banks. Right now, Bank Negara has no oversight of Tabung Haji whatsoever. Tabung Haji is governed only by the Tabung Haji Act. And Bank Negara would ensure that there are there's a fit and proper board, directors, because that's what they do with banks. You have to get approval from Bank Negara. They have to approve it, not so much approval, but, you know, they have to approve the CEO. So you'd be sure that there'd be strong directors, a strong CEO, because if you look at Tabung Haji in the past, we've had lots of politicians, and, you know, questions are raised there about independence of board decisions.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that Bank Negara, most importantly, would ensure that there's a proper risk management framework. So, you know, you can't just do anything you please. There is a framework guiding everything. And you have them scrutinizing things.
Because at the end of the day, this money is for people to fulfill.
This money is, yes,
for them to fulfill
for the
something
people
which
to
is
fulfill,
so
yes,
personal
exactly.
to them.
Yes.
And I suppose I'm not the vindictive sort, but if you see things like this, will heads roll?
That remains to see. To be seen. They've already started the ball rolling with the police reports. People have been named, and what's interesting is it's not just the board members and the CEOs that have been mentioned. It is also the senior management folks, which I understand is quite rare for corporate Malaysia. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens next.
For more on the stories, pick up a copy of The Edge Weekly at all good newsstands.